If you would allow me a moment, I want to share with you an excerpt of a conversation that I had with one of my favorite clients, and it's my hope that what I shared with her is going to be a help and a blessing to you. She is about to turn 30. She has two children. One is autistic, and she's in a very stable relationship with a great guy. But she has an issue, and that is 2 years ago, she had a fallout with her father. Her father said some very rude and offensive things to her and actually physically attacked her in the driveway of their home. And she defended herself. Weapons were involved. Cops were called. And long story short, she ended up having to spend a couple of days in jail. But this was because of her father's aggression. He was the aggressor. She said to me, she said, "Doc, my father does not see anything wrong with his actions, behaviors. He's very stubborn. He thinks he's always right. He does not want to get any type of help to be a better person or a better man. He was not a great husband to my mom. He's just not a great guy." She said, "But I saw your video on reaping and sowing. And when I saw it, it convicted me. And I thought to myself, maybe I should apologize to my dad." She said, "What should I do?" I said, "Number one, let me say to you, I think it is very commendable towards you to see that video and then to feel conviction, right? Because I think that says a lot about you as a person." I said, "But number two, and this is the larger thing. While that video and what I said is true, there is one exception. And that is this. My grandmother also taught me that you should never have a conversation with a fool." She said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I'm not calling your dad a fool." I said, "But hear me out. You should never have a conversation with a fool." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Do you think your father is really positioned to hear your apology?" She said, "Absolutely not." She said, "Do you think your father would listen to your apology and not try to turn things around on you or try to become argumentative?" She said, "I know for a fact he would be very argumentative because he doesn't think he did anything wrong." I said, "Exactly." I said, "So anytime we attempt to reconcile with someone who was not prepared to receive that reconciliation, we can do more damage than we do help. Reconciliation only works when you have at least two willing parties. Reconciliation doesn't work in any scenario. Father, son, mother, daughter, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. Reconciliation does not work if only one person wants to make something right." I said, "So your attempt to apologize to him would be more of a detriment to you than it would be a help to the situation." She said, "Wow, then what can I do?" She said, I really felt convicted. I felt like I ought to do something. Is there anything I can do?" I said, "Well, there are two things you can do. Number one," I said, "why don't you write him a letter of apology," right? Old school handwritten letters. Remember when we were all in 6th, 7th grade and somebody wrote us a letter, said they liked us and checked yes or no and all of that stuff? It meant something, right? It meant something when somebody wrote you a letter and sent it in the mail, right? Because handwriting a letter or handwriting anything for that matter, is very impactful because it is a very effective way of translating our thoughts, right? And being able to communicate and convey our thoughts. And so almost as impactful as face-to-face communication is handwritten communication. I said, "So write him a letter." She said, "Am I going to give it to him?" I said, "No, you're going to keep the letter. Read the letter maybe once and put the letter up. If that's going to be too much or too triggering for you, you may read it later and it may make you upset later." I said, "Then read it, ball it up, throw it in the trash, burn it, whatever you want to do." I said, "But writing your apology to him is going to be effective in this situation because he is not prepared to receive your apology." I said, "And that's going to help to do something that I believe people misunderstand." She said, "What's that?" I said, "Closure." We think that people give us closure. People don't give us closure. We give ourselves closure. If your father were to die tomorrow, how would you get closure from him? She said, "It would be impossible." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because he's not living." I said, "That's why I believe closure does not come from people. Closure comes from us. Because at the end of the day, whether people receive our apology or not, whether they're living or they're dead, how we're able to move on ultimately becomes our own responsibility. You got to stop waiting on people to give you closure, and you got to learn how to create your own closure." I said, "The second thing that you can do is this. You got two beautiful children, right?" She said, "Yes, sir." I said, "What I need you to do is be to your kids what your father was not to you. She said, wow. Her eyes started to tear up. She's just an incredible woman. She said, wow. I said, yeah, be to them what your daddy was not to you. I said, because unfortunately, we're living in a time now, especially those of you that are millennials and those of us that are very close to that. We're living in a time now where parents are more childish than their children. I've never seen a time in my life where parents do wrong with their children or children do wrong by their parents, and then parents do childish things like don't speak to them, block them on social media, ignore them, change their numbers and don't give them the new number. Like, you wouldn't believe some of the stories that I hear from clients of how kids end up becoming more like the adults than the parents that are the adults. And unfortunately, we're living in a time where adults don't want to take responsibility and accountability, even when it comes to their kids. I told her this, and I'm going to share this with you. I don't care who's wrong in a situation between a parent and a child. I don't care who was at fault. I don't care who made the mistake. I don't care who did something on purpose. When there is a fallout between a parent and a child, if reconciliation is going to take place, it is always the responsibility of the parent to lead the charge of that reconciliation. I know that's going to hurt some feelings. I know people won't agree with that. Doesn't matter to me. I believe that if you're the adult in one thing, you ought to be the adult in all things. Don't forget, I don't care if it's concerning your children, your parents, your husband, your wife, your brother, your sister, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. You can never have a conversation with a fool. I hope this made sense. If it did, type church in the comments with 3 R's. And then remember, you've got 2 jobs. 1, be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, don't forget what I told you. What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb. Listen, I've been dying to make this announcement for a very long time now, and I'm pleased to say that Inspire Nation has officially launched. Yes, we finally got a Facebook and YouTube community group where we're going to have exclusive content, exclusive shorts, exclusive discussion prompts, where we're going to engage with other people literally around the world who are on the same healing journey that we're on. I need you to go find these pages right now on Facebook and YouTube. Inspire Nation, follow the page, join the group, introduce yourself, and be prepared to link up with literally thousands of people around the world who are on the same healing journey, who are looking for the same resources, and who want to also be surrounded with other like-minded individuals who are growing in the same direction as you are. I'm so excited about this because it's the beginning of some great things I can't talk about right now. Listen, you got 2 jobs. 1, be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, don't forget what I told you.